Hey, Peter Buswell here for DrVoIP.com. Today we're going to take a quick look at installing virtual switches, a new capability in ShoreTel 14.2. Enables you to get rid of those little orange boxes any place that you do not have a requirement for a physical connection, like an analog line, telephone set, fax machine, PRI. If you're using SIP trunks or you're just registering phones, you could get by with one of these virtual switches. And we'll take a look at just how these things install. Installing switches, there's basically three varieties of switches we're going to look at. The ShoreTel virtual switch for a phone, in other words, an orange box that would be suitable for phones to register. A trunk switch suitable for establishing SIP trunks. And a virtual service appliance, basically the ShoreTel SA100 server that you could use for example, IM capabilities. And these switches come to you in the form of OVA files. Some of you who have not worked with VMware in the past will need to become familiar with VMware and how it operates and the various administrative components necessary to bring up a VMware server. This is not a tutorial on VMware, so we assume you have some experience with this. But you will deploy your ShoreTel switches from an OVA file, and the OVA files are located on the headquarters server. I'll show you how to point at that and download that. The installation process is going to create a virtual switch or a service appliance. It's going to have basically a configuration of 2 gigs, a 4-core single socket processor, a 100 gigabyte thinly provisioned hard disk, a video display, a SASHI controller, and a network adapter. Requirements are ESXi 5 or higher. If you try to deploy this on a version 4 ESXi, it will not work, so get your ESXi upgraded to 5. 5.5 seems to be the current release as of this video. The actual OVA files are located in the headquarters or DVS servers, and you'll just point to an HTTP link that is on the FTP server for either your virtual trunks or for your ShoreTel server. And once that's created, it installs pretty much like a regular orange box. So with that background, let's log in and actually configure one of these puppies. So you can see that we have our vSphere client, and we're logged into an ESX 5.5 machine, and I have a list of virtual machines here, including 2 ShoreTel servers. So we're going to create a new virtual machine, and normally you'd go here and select your OS, etc. But here we're just going to say deploy OVF template, and that will pop up this guy here, and you will paste in the URL that points to the ShoreTel server, the FTP, and to select, in this case we're going to install a ShoreTel service appliance, a conference server. So at that point, just hit next. The process for installing any of the virtual switches is similar to the process of installing your normal little orange box. You're going to go to Platform Hardware, Switches, Primary. You're going to say, I want to add a new switch. And the difference here is that rather than selecting, SA100 or 400 or SG50, whatever you're going to install, you're going to select from down here. You're either going to select a short-geared phone switch or a virtual trunk switch or a virtual appliance. So let's go ahead and install the virtual appliance. Give it a name. You can download a switch. There's no need to do this because you select it as an HTTP link when you set up your virtual. One of the tricky aspects here, of course, is trying to figure out the MAC address. So we gave this guy a 172.16.1.7. I noticed if you try to find the switch, you'll see it there. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. I previously installed this to test it out, so the best thing to do here is go over to a DOS window and type, first of all, make sure you can ping it. And once we know we can ping it, let's go ahead and just ARP it. So ARP minus A. And at that point, we can see 172.16.7, and we can see the, just go ahead and get your, and so we now have the MAC address, fully qualified domain name, and so on. I think down here we want to tell it where the IP address of the backup server is. I happen to be using the ShoreTel server. At that point, you can go ahead and save him. And you go out to a quick look. What you'll notice is that the switch appears pretty much like any other switch. It'll even tell you if you have a firmware mismatch. And in that regard, you just do what you would normally do with any orange box. It behaves the same any orange box in your deployment. It's no big difference. When we installed a trunk switch, a phone switch, I just did the same thing. Let's go install, but instead of suggesting, a short-gear 50, we picked a phone switch. And go ahead and name it, give it a description, give an IP address. It'll ask you for the, you might be able to find it, you might not, it depends. But you can get the Ethernet address. If it's on your local subnet, you should be able to get it. And at that point, the switch will come up just like any other orange box. It behaves the same, it looks the same. So here you can see we have a firmware mismatch on this guy here, and we could go take care of him. Just go ahead and restart him, and that'll cause the new firmware to be downloaded. So in terms of how the switch behaves, it's going to look like and function like a little orange box. The difference being that you will select a different drop-down window from your installation parameters. But at the end of the day, you can install free of charge a virtual IM server, and it will look like and perform like any other ShoreTel conference server had you installed hardware. If we take a look at quick look, and we can see our virtual server is in place, and we can see web services running. You're not going to be able to tell the difference, right? So that's a look at installing virtual switches in ShoreTel 14.2. I hope you have found this informative, and I thank you for viewing.